High lifts are a type of permanent hair color that are designed to lift the hair and deposit a tone in one single step without using bleach. You can achieve up to 4 levels of lift. However, there are limitations. It really only works on lighter shades of hair, level 6 and above. So it's not really going to work if you live in this space. And it works best on virgin hair or hair that has never been colored before, but you wouldn't want to use it on hair that has been colored. For an example, if you just colored your hair a level 5 and you put the high lift color on, it may bump it up 1 level, but it's probably going to have an orange or red undertone, but it's not going to lift it that 4 levels. Color can't lift color. However, you can put this on virgin hair again, or hair that has been previously lightened, bleached, or that's used high lift color, because bleach and color are 2 totally different things. So if you bleached your hair and it's a level 9, you can use high lift color to bump it up to a level 10 and deposit the tone at the same time. The color we're using today is from Sally's. It's by Ion and it's HLB, which will translate to high lift blue. Blue being more of an ashy, cooler color. Let's bring out our fancy color wheel. So remember, if you have orange hair, you can go across from the color wheel and you're going to get blue. So the blue is going to cancel out any orange tones. If you have yellow tones, you're going to want to use the HLV, which is violet. The mixing ratio for this is a 1:2. This means 1 part of the high lift to 2 parts of the developer. You can measure it with whatever you want. You can do a scoop of color to 2 scoops of developer. I did an ounce of color to 2 ounces of developer. 1:2. For the developer, it's either 30 or 40 volume. So if you're using 2 parts of developer, that would make it a double 40, which sounds pretty scary when you're comparing it to something like bleach or lightener. If you put double 40 in lightener, it's probably gonna fry your hair, but this is a permanent hair color. So typically when we have our tube of color, regular tube of color, we pair it with 10 or 20 volume if you have gray hair, because we're depositing a color. For our high lift color, we're using 30 or 40 volume, double 30, double 40. We need this to really open up the hair cuticle. Pretend this is your hair. The hair, when you blow it up, looks like shingles on a roof. Kind of does this. Your hair color, for the most part, slips in these little cracks and deposits color. When you use 30 or 40 volume, you're working with a lot of ammonia. It's taking these that are kind of laying nice and flat and doing one of these. Woo! Wide open. It's puffing it up. The color rushes in. In this case for high lift, it's changing the color to a lighter color, blonde, usually warm. We'll get into that in a minute. Once it's processed, you rinse it with cool water, do a treatment on it. It goes back and closes the cuticle to seal the color in the tone. So the high peroxide or developer is needed to really get into the hair shaft and change the color. It's just not gonna do it with a 10 or a 20. But with that, even using 30 or 40 volume, it's still a little bit safer than using bleach, but you're not going to get the same lightening effect. I'm gonna do a couple foils in my hair so you can see it. This is my natural hair color, so it's virgin hair, and it will lift the blonde part also, because remember, it can be put on bleached hair, but it's not going to lift color. Color does not lift color. And I use the double 40. I'm also going to color these swatches. This one is a level 10 that's been bleached. This one is a 4R, 4 red. High lift is really geared for people 6 and above who haven't colored their hair. I just want to show you what it will do if you try to put it on darker colored hair. And this is a level 6, maybe level 7. And the processing time for this is up to 45 minutes, which I would suggest using the full 45. So that's one of the negatives when you're comparing it to bleach or lightener. You're getting less levels of lift. It has to be on virgin hair or blonde hair, and it has to stay on the hair for a longer amount of time. And I'm gonna do a chunky weave. And I'm not gonna put it all the way up to the root. I want it to look grown out. And this one I'm just gonna swipe or dust the ends because I like the golden color that it is. That one got pretty bright. For our hair swatches, I made a mistake. I rinsed this one with the red one, so it's got a little bit of a pink tint, but if you look at this side, hopefully you can see that. It has a really nice icy tone, that blue ash tone. So the lighter your hair is, the more it's gonna deposit that tone that you see on the swatch. Where the darker your hair is, like mine, you're gonna get more of those warm in the middle tones because your hair is decolorizing. This one, you can see the difference between the bottom and the top. It did lighten it quite a bit, but it would definitely benefit from a toner. It's pulling orange, yellow, so this one would need an additional toner, which is pretty normal. Unless you have super light hair, you will need to tone this again. Easy fix, just put something with blue in it, maybe blue violet. The 4R that was colored, it took out a little bit of the red, but not much. To be expected, high lift color does not lift out color. It's only on virgin hair or hair that has been previously lightened in those lighter shades. So a quick recap on high lift color, or this brand, Ion. It's recommended for levels 6 and above. Virgin hair, hair that's never been colored before, or hair that's been bleached or already has high lift color on it, like it did in my hair. It lifted the virgin hair and made the hair that was already lightened much brighter. It's mixed in a 1:2 ratio, so 1 part hair color, 2 parts developer, 30 or 40 volume, and it goes on dry hair. You can put it in foils, you can put it on the scalp, you use it just like you would use bleach. It can't be mixed with hair color, you can't intermix a hair color with it. If you're going to intermix colors, it needs to be within that high lift range, so high lift HLV mixed with HLB. You wouldn't want to mix the high lift color with a 9A. You apply it on dry hair and it processes up to 45 minutes. Rinsing it with cool water, shampoo, condition, just to seal the cuticle. High lift colors like this would be good for people who have super fine, thin, damaged hair, people who are allergic to bleach. I use them a lot when I'm looking for a more natural, controllable level. And what I mean by that is when you put on lightener, it goes and goes and goes and goes and goes until it turns white pretty much. This is going to stop at a nice medium warm tone pretty much every single time, and then you can just throw a toner on it. It's more for a natural blending, not for platinums. If you're wanting to be platinum blonde, the best choice for you is to just use bleach. Having to tone after high lift color is not abnormal. I know it kind of defeats the purpose when it says, oh, it lifts and it tones, but when we don't have the green to cancel out some of the warm, or it just couldn't lift high enough, a toner is absolutely okay. So just remember when you're using high lift colors to have realistic expectations. It's not going to be a lot of levels of lift. It just can't do it. It's going to lift a few levels within reason depending on what's going on with your hair, and it's probably going to pull a warmer tone, but is a lot safer for your hair versus putting bleach on it.